All right. WrestleMania Night 1 review. I'm going to quickly go over the results and give my opinion for every match. All right, so the show opens up with Jey Uso taking on Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. The match was nothing to write home about. I'm going to say this. I do not think Gunther and Jey have good in-ring chemistry with each other. This match just didn't do it for me. However, the moment was worth it in the end. Jey Uso made Gunther submit with Gunther's own sleeper hold to win his first world title, and I ain't gonna lie, it was fun seeing the entire stadium yeet with Jey Uso after he won the match, and he had an emotional moment with his brother Jimmy. So yeah, while the match is nothing to write home about, and I kind of want Jey to move on from Gunther to wrestle people who can bring out who are better, the moment was worth it in the end. Jey Uso's momentum has finally been capped off with his first world title win, and to be fair. It was a hot open to kick off kick off night 1 of WrestleMania because the crowd was definitely, even though the match wasn't all that great, the crowd was into Jey Uso, and in the end, that's really what matters. Number 2, the New Day defeat the Raw Raiders for the Raw Tag Team titles. This match was a dud to me. This was no different than the match they had on Raw. It was just basic. They did nothing to wow you. A couple of decent moments here and there, but overall, the match was a bore. The crowd was absolutely dead. The New Day win, and I don't care about them. I don't care about their record. I don't care about anything related to the New Day. I've been over the New Day for the last 10 years. They absolutely bore me. The War Raiders, they ain't no different, but at least they have a more interesting look than the New Day does, because the New Day's heel run has been an absolute waste of time and a waste of just everything. Yeah, the TLC match that's going to happen on SmackDown Friday should have took the place of this, because that would have woke the crowd up and you would have got some killer moments in that. This was a botch. Number 3, Jade Cargill defeats Naomi. This match was average. These two girls wrestled as if they were wrestling on SmackDown, not as if they were wrestling at a WrestleMania. And I like Jade Cargill, but she did not need to win this match. You just turned Naomi a heel. You just did all this shit with her. You had her almost killing Jade Cargill as her being the culprit. You have her doing all these Mean Girl promos, just for them to have a very just safe and boring match where Jade Cargill wins in the end. Where do you go from here with Jade? The next logical step is to have Jade chase after the Women's Championship, because there's no reason for these two to have a rematch, because now the dynamic is going to be all screwed up. A rematch works better when the heel wins and the babyface chases, not when the babyface wins and the heel chases, because now you're unintentionally making your heel the babyface and your babyface the heel. It's a dynamic that WWE constantly does, and it's getting really, really tiring. Yeah, Jade wins a very mediocre match, but the last 20 seconds was pretty cool. I'll give it that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch it, because Jade does a really cool combo on Naomi that was cool. I ain't gonna lie. Next up, Jacob Fatu defeats LA Knight for the United States Championship. This was the sleeper of the night. Just like I predicted, these two guys went in there and they did what needed to be done. It was fast-paced. It was action-packed. Jacob looked like a beast. LA Knight continues to show that don't underestimate him. He can hang in the ring. They had a good match. And thankfully, they made the right call by putting the belt on Jacob Fatu. I know myself included, a lot of people thought that Solo was going to play a role and screw Jacob over. Thankfully, they're holding off on that for a little while longer. And they give Jacob his moment, because it's time to start putting a lot of stock in Jacob Fatu, and him becoming U.S. champion is the perfect launching point for Jacob to eventually, potentially win next year's Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania in New Orleans. But as a match itself, no complaints. These two did what I expected to do, and that just have a brawling match that did not disappoint. And also, that moonsault into a BFF, chef's kiss. That was perfect. And Jacob Fatu laying out LA Knight with 2 big moonsaults at the end, that was also perfect. I loved it. Next up, El Grande Americano, who is not Chad Gable, defeats Rey Fenix, who is subbing for Rey Mysterio, who got hurt on SmackDown on Friday. This was a fun match. I enjoyed this match. This match was what I expected it to be. It had elements of comedy, but it wasn't cringy comedy. It was funny comedy. And once again, the man behind the mask, who is not Chad Gable, continues to show why in his first few weeks with the company that he's gonna be a star. I'm sorry. Oh man. But yeah, Grande Americano defeats Rey Fenix in a fun match, though Grande did cheat to win. That's a good way to keep this feud going if they choose to do so. But the ending of the match had El Vikingo, who is known for being in AAA, confront Americano after Americano did the same to him. Now, Vikingo is a part of AAA. It was announced yesterday afternoon that WWE had bought AAA, and now they're planning an NXT vs. AAA Worlds Collide pay-per-view. How they plan to implement AAA's talent into the overall roster is going to be interesting to see. So yeah, that's that. If for any AAA fans. Next up, Tiffany Stratton defeats Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Okay, I'm going to do my best to not go on a nuclear rant here. So, Charlotte sucks. I hate her. When you watch this match, you can tell that Charlotte Flair went in there with the intent to make Tiffany Stratton look like an idiot. Charlotte made Tiffany look bad, and this was not a work. She intentionally made her look like crap. 90% of this match saw Tiffany on defense and not on offense. And Charlotte, as a match controller, she sucks. Charlotte Flair legitimately sucks. She has got X-Pac heat with me. This match reminded me of Alex Wright versus Paul Roma from the 90s, in which Paul Roma legitimately went into the ring and made Alex Wright look like a piece of garbage. This bitch, Charlotte Flair, did the exact same thing to Tiffany Stratton, but she tried to mask it as if it was a competitive match, which it wasn't. This match was a bore fest. It was a piece of garbage. It sucked. This match was terrible. Tiffany got the win, but the win comes across as her just skating by. Tiff looks weak while Charlotte looks dominant. It was garbage. I hated it. Get rid of Charlotte Flair. She has to go. She's toxic, and she's a cancer to the women's division. The women's division is better off without her. And that's all I'm going to say. Next up, the main event. And what a main event this was. This main event was outstanding. A WrestleMania-worthy main event. Probably one of the best triple threats that the company has put together ever. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, with Paul Heyman as the wild card. These three guys went in there, and they basically saved this show from being a complete and utter dud. This match was everything. It was chaotic. It was full of storytelling. And then it had a lot of great spots in it. Everyone had a chance to shine. Roman looked good. Punk looked good. Seth looked good. You had a great moment where Seth wanted to do the Shield Powerbomb on CM Punk, and Roman was like, nah, fuck you. And he ends up powerbombing both Punk and Rollins through separate tables. Then you have the whole ending sequence with Paul Heyman and him backstabbing Reigns and Punk and helping Seth Rollins. Now, do I think that Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins are going to be a pair? I don't know. I don't really think Rollins needs a manager. But I am interested to see how all that plays out in the weeks and months to come. But as an overall match, the triple threat match delivered in every single way. This was a WrestleMania-worthy match. So, my overall thoughts on Night 1 of WrestleMania 41, a 5 out of 10. 3 matches delivered. The rest of the card was utterly forgettable.